Welcome to Worth Following Weekly, your weekly mentoring session to help you become a leader who positively influences and drives the culture in your workplace, your home, or your community. Remember, how you lead is derived from who you are. And last week, I gave you a quick activity to not only identify your own core values through a reflective exercise, but also helped you to build those values into a statement of affirmation that you can use to help others understand your core values. Communicating your own core values lets others know where you stand, but it also lets them know what you stand on. When some of life's difficulties or emergencies come up, you'll be on solid ground. If people understand that about you, then you'll be the leader worth following in those difficult times. So today we're going to work on the number threes that you had on the list. If you're unclear about your threes, I'm going to invite you to go back to last week's episode and review the 6-step ready, run, rate, refine, define, and declare activity. Remember the threes that you drew a square around? We're going to work on those today to make them into areas where you can put effort into. During the run phase, I listed confidence as one of the traits of a leader, and it ended up to be a number 3 for me during the refine phase. So it's sat since last week with a square on it, just looking at me from my paper. Today, we're going to define and declare our number threes as working areas so we can add strength to our values based leadership. So let's define confidence: displaying self assurance and belief in one's abilities, decisions, and capacity to achieve goals. Thanks, Google. Now comes the work. Forecast the behaviors you would show if this trait, your trait, was more prevalent in your leadership, and write out a behavioral goal to get you there. For me, with courage as the trait I'm working on, it would sound like this: each day, I'll build courage by purposefully stretching my actions into the uncomfortable. That sounds pretty good, right? Now, if I was mentoring me, I'd say that's a terrible goal. It isn't specific enough. So let's refine. I don't show courage in taking professional risk and increasing my online presence. So here's a better goal. I will show growth in being courageous by developing and posting one weekly video on leadership and positive mentoring. I'll take that chance. There, much more specific. It's time measured and it's achievable. Smart, right? Since courage is a value, but not your core value, it's a developing trait that you'll build eventually into a well practiced and ingrained core value, or at least I will. But it takes work, and that's what mentoring in growth is all about. So take the time when we're done here and define your number threes and declare your behavioral goals to work on. Last thing, and that's a story. I joined the United States Air Force in 1990 and served for 33 years. And at the time, the organization lacked a key part of large scale identity. Because of a lack of guiding values, the organization and the people within it were meandering. Sure, the mission was getting done, but stories like gazillion-dollar hammers and toilet seats and other character based issues prevailed. The chief of staff, that's the top general, wrote about a climate of corrosion and a culture of compromise, and that it had infected the organization, leading him and the Secretary of the Air Force, the key civilian leader, in 1995 to publish and push core values as a part of the Air Force's baseline policy of conduct. But they did much more than that. They declared the values and made them a part of all educational and informational communications within the organization. The core values were simple. There were only three. There are still only three. And they become so strongly ingrained in the organization that now they're able to hold their people accountable to them. Not perfectly, but they're able to hold their people accountable to them. If you're leading yourself, and you better know where you stand, that's better. If you're leading yourself and you know better where you stand, that's wonderful. You'll be a better leader worth following for it. If you're leading a team and an organization and that organization is missing the solid ground to stand on, I invite you to do the hard work to ready, run, rate, refine, define, and declare your organization's core values. If you need help, there are resources that can guide you. And yes, I'm one of them. Next week, we'll talk about the importance of storytelling in leadership and how that ties into inspiring others to see you as a leader who is worth following. We'll see you then.